Hey everyone, my name is Danilo Petrovic.
I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Denis Kudla.
I'm Evgeny Donskoy.
I'm Henry Laaksonen.
I'm Peter Torebko, and you're listening to the Game to Love podcast.
Hey, good morning or good afternoon, tennis fans. Here we are. It's the day after the night before, and it was, well, what can we say, really? A little bit of a deflation of the Emma Raducanu hype train that was sort of speeding around. Everybody was getting a little bit too over the top. We said it. We said, how are you making a favourite for the tournament? It put in a lot of pressure on her. She hadn't played a match since the US Open. And there's part of me that I'm kind of happy that she lost and she's taken the defeat and she can now rebuild. And we can start to see what sort of tennis player she is on tour. I don't know if you got to see any of the highlights of the match or anything yet, or
yeah, I caught the highlights. Unfortunately, I did miss the match. I fell asleep on the sofa watching Tyson Fury, the weigh-in, and all of that stuff. That couldn't even keep me up. I fell asleep, woke up in a daze in the middle of the night on the sofa, thinking, "Damn, what's happened with Raducanu?" And before I knew it, it was over. And well done for you covering it. And listen, there's plenty to talk about on this podcast. I know we're gonna keep it to about 30 minutes, but I could go on and do a 2-hour podcast just on this very match and Raducanu, because her feet haven't touched the ground yet. She's just not stopped. Ever since the US Open, we've seen her at the what's it called? Them awards. She was at
the Met Gala.
The Met Gala Awards. She was
James
doing all
Bond.
of that stuff. She's been at James Bond premieres. She's been here, there, and everywhere. She's got sponsorship deals, signed stuff with Chanel. She's doing this. She's doing that. She's split with her coach, the coach who got her through the US Open. So much has happened. I don't think her mind really has been 1 minute about her tennis and playing tennis. And listen, I'm not going to criticize her at all. She's 18 years old. What she did at the US Open was, I don't know what the right word to describe it is. It's a bit of a freak incident.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
It is unbelievable. A qualifier coming through and doing what she did isn't the norm. It's not the run of the mill. And I don't think we're going to see something like that happen again. It is remarkable. She deserved it. She was awesome. But let's be realistic here. It doesn't now mean she's going to be the favourite for every single women's event for the foreseeable future. Why is she the favourite for Indian Wells? The bookmakers, I don't know what they're doing there, but they've probably managed to get a lot of people involved in it, especially in the UK, who don't necessarily watch much tennis. But she should never have been a favourite. I've already had a rant on it on the last podcast we had before she went out. And I did say for a while that she goes out first round. Obviously, that wasn't the case because she had a bye through the first round. But ultimately, it ended up happening in the second, and I'm not too shocked. I think I did push her through that one in the bracket, and I had her losing to Halep. But it's a big ask for someone like that to be expected to just hit the ground running again after the US Open. It's going to take some time. She's definitely got bundles of talent. We know she's going to be a superstar in tennis. I don't think she's going to be someone who gets distracted from all the other things. I think we're going to see her be like. I don't think she's going to be like one of them players who she's got her fame from winning that one Grand Slam, and then she's going to just fizzle out in the tennis scene and start doing other ventures, which she could easily do. She could become an actress or whatever she wants to do. I don't think that's going to happen. I think she's going to be someone who's very good in tennis, and we're going to see her for many years. But it's going to take some time. I wouldn't be surprised if we see now Emma Raducanu next 2 years. Struggle to win an event. And when I say struggle, not even get deep into a tournament, because it takes time, Ben. And we've got too much expectations and pressure on her for her to be able to win every match. And it's too much. I think Iga Swiatek is a prime example of what happens after Roland Garros. People have been critical of her. She's won Masters events. She's been playing awesome. If Raducanu can do half as well as what Swiatek's done after Roland Garros, then she's doing something right.
Yeah, I think you're sort of hitting the nail on the head there. There's been a lot of pressure that's come, not even as much as what's been thrown onto Raducanu on Iga Swiatek.
No, nowhere
I mean,
near.
Iga, I don't know. I think it's a little bit disrespectful. She hasn't been given as much of the plaudits as Emma has, but obviously the sort of the way that Emma did it coming from qualifying, that made it was a sort of freak result. But
Mate, she was like 300th in the world before.
And I
That's
was
why.
saying it in the match last night. When you come through and you play, and all these top players on the tour, if you put your best tennis together and play your ultimate 100% for 2 weeks, you're likely to win a Grand Slam. And that goes for all of the players on the tour. Majority of the players, if you play your best tennis and you're one of those type of players who can hit hard winners and you can take the ball early, take the play to the other player down the other end of the court, you will win tennis matches. And she proved that is possible. And if anything, she was an inspiration at the US Open to a lot of young people, to a lot of other tennis players on the tour to show what can be done. I still think she's just a very, very good professional. And she realizes, she came out in a press conference, she's acknowledged, I haven't played tennis since the final of the US Open. People were saying, what about the crowd? Was it difficult play? He said, I've never played at Indian Wells. I've never even been to this part of the world before. This is new conditions. Every tournament she plays is going to be a new condition now. She's going to have one match to be able to adjust. That is it. If she doesn't adjust in the first match, she might lose. And that's what we're going to have to get used to, is she's got a target on her back, don't forget, as well. Everyone wants to beat her, and there's going to be a lot of people out there like Sasnovich, and I said it yesterday as well. Do not look past Sasnovich. Sasnovich is a very good player, and she played very well yesterday. Yeah. She looked like she wanted to try and wipe Emma Raducanu.
She raised her game a bit, didn't she?
It was a bit of both, because she played great for the first set. Raducanu wasn't really at the races. She made some poor errors at certain times, like when trying to hit the ball into maybe an open court she should have picked. She hit it back towards Sasnovich. She was getting lobbed a lot. She's not the tallest person. Got passed at the net. Her net play wasn't really there. And she had a little resurgence in that second set, and you thought, oh, but that was more a Sasnovich's level dropped a bit as well. She's hit a couple of double faults, gave her a break back, and Raducanu was 4-2 up. And she said something I think it was very profound in her press conference as well. She said, Sasnovich has probably been 4-2 down in a set 100 times in her career. This is my third WTA event. She said, you've got to put things into perspective. And this is a learning curve. Every tournament is for her is a learning curve. And it's true. She's the fact that she won the US Open, no one can ever take that away from her. She's achieved a dream of all women out there playing tennis.
What she's achieved already is more than most players. They go through their whole entire career. And I'm talking top players, like top 10 players don't ever reach and win a Grand Slam.
Exactly.
So what she's done is remarkable. The problem is, where do you go from there? You instantly, from a qualifier, go win a Grand Slam. Everyone now expects you to win everything. And this is why I make the statement, like I said at the start, I don't see Raducanu winning anything for 2 years now.
I don't think that's...
No, listen, that's my opinion, though, Ben.
Yeah,
I think she's not going to win for 2 years. I think it's going to take some time. You said she's not played any events, really, none of these events. Doesn't know where exactly. the conditions, other players on tour. It's going to take her a little time adjusting. Like, I don't even remember seeing her too much, like, on in the ITF circuits and stuff. She's sort of come from nowhere in my books. I know she had what was it, some junior Wimbledon, she had a run in there and stuff, and there's some other little results, and there's some, I know we had Dan Rodemy on the podcast talking about her, watching a little bit more of her game. I've not seen hardly anything. It's not like some of the other in the men's tennis where we've seen them in the challengers. We know what they can do. Like Alcaraz, there was a few years. He had that 1.5 years, 2 years of just playing challengers. We saw what he was going to do. Raducanu, for me, come from nowhere. And it's all it's all happened too soon. Give her 2 years on the tour, and I can guarantee you after that, she's going to be right back up there with all the top athletes in the women's game. And I can see her going deep in Masters, maybe not winning slams straight away, but going far. And that's what she needs to do. Just give her some time, the girl. 18 years old. What's happened has happened too quick. And this is what I want to say. I will save the Leylah Fernandez bit for the end of the podcast, because I've got lots to say about comparisons between the two. Yeah. But just on Raducanu at the US Open, let's be honest here. Her draw could have been a lot harder to win a US Open. It wasn't the toughest draw in the world. Granted, there were some really tough players at the end, and you can only beat what's put in front of you, but it wasn't the toughest. And I think that does highlight here that maybe a lot of people have been getting a little bit carried away with the whole Raducanu train.
Oh,
I
for
think she's
sure.
great. I think she's amazing, but she's not going to mean that she wins everything now or even goes far.
No.
You can see here, Sasnovich was able to beat her.
I think you've got to remember, though, with this, this is the first event that she's played, and it's a whole month. She's had a month from not playing any tennis whatsoever.
Well,
So
I can't imagine she's been in the gym either, or working out, or doing anything.
Well, she's gone straight from not playing any tennis for a month to just walking straight back onto a Masters event and playing against somebody. Guess what Sasnovich did once she went out of the US Open? She played 2 more events.
Yeah.
So she's been active. I mean, all of the other players that you can't expect. I think this is a little bit too soon. Like this tournament, I still don't think defines where what level she's actually at. Once we've seen her settle into this, like the WTA tour, she goes on. I think we have to give her a year, see how she is after 1 full year on tour as a top WTA player, playing the top events. And then you can make a judgment and say, well, she's played everybody. She's played all these events and she still hasn't been getting past the first round. Then we can maybe say, okay, we know what sort of level she's at now. Maybe she's a 50 in the world. Maybe she's we don't know what level she is because she had this freak result. But I think
she's got the makings to be more than a 50, though. She's
she
definitely a
has.
top 5 sort of player. I've really believed that. I've seen enough from her at the US Open to suggest that she's capable of doing that with the right coach, the right team, and the right mindset. The mindset seems to be great from her. She come out on her afterwards, after the match. I know you got some quotes here, but she did say a lot of other things as well. Saying, I'm very new, very, very new to the tour. Experience just comes from playing week in, week out and experience all these different things. Kind of glad what happened today happened so I can learn, take it as a lesson. So going forward, I'll have more experience banked. And exactly what I said. She speaks sense. She's grounded. I think she's going to be okay. And this is what makes me think she's going to have a good future in the game because she's very intelligent for someone of her age. And I think it is a blessing. I think the best thing what could have happened was her lose this match.
Yeah,
she's going to gain so much more from losing this than winning it.
I think you're right, and we cannot criticize. Imagine you're 18 years old, you win the US Open, and you're being invited to literally everything, everywhere. Places you would never have even been able to sneak into. You would have been stopped at the door. They would say, "Who are you? Get out!" And now Chanel want you. These want you. You're going to James Bond premiere. You're going Who's going to say no? Like, I mean, you're 18. You've got probably another 20 years of tennis in you.
Yeah.
It's not this has to be taken when it's available, because who knows when life passes you by and you might not have that opportunity again. So I don't think that she's done anything wrong. And the fact that she won that US Open so early, I think it's a great thing in a way, because I was saying this last night. People can look at it 2 ways. You can say, oh, look, there's all the pressure on you. You're one of the best now. Oh, you've got to replicate it. I say, you pretty much completed the game. Go out and enjoy yourself now. You can go out there.
I'm not so sure about that. I'm not so sure. I think I disagree with you there. Listen, it's a blessing. Winning a Grand Slam early is a blessing or a curse. Depends which way you are built as a person. And for a lot of players, it could be a serious curse where after you win it, you'll be lucky to ever have a career in tennis afterwards, because it'll all come to you too quick, especially at 18 years old, and you can't handle it. We see it with anyone who's sort of pushed into fame quickly. So musicians, footballers, anyone really, when they get all that money at such a young age, sometimes they blow their mind. They turn to drugs, alcohol, gambling addictions, different things like that. It can be a bit of a curse. But I don't think that's going to be the case with Raducanu. I think she will be all right. Just give us some time. Almino here saying the amount of people who have already turned against is ridiculous. I've not seen much of it, to be fair. I think a lot of people have been pretty supportive, but the ones I have seen, I've got no time for whatsoever.
It's just petty, isn't it? I mean, come on. There's too many people wanting people to
just like failure, don't they?
Yeah, it's just so. I mean, come on.
And she's not. Failure is a bad word to use anyway, because it's not failure losing to Sasnovich, but they just want to see people who have done great things
Yeah,
fall off a
fine.
little bit. They just
No.
like all that
Oh,
negativity around it.
Oh no, they love it. They love it. Oh yeah, you won something? Yeah, I want to see you just get thrashed by somebody who's lower ranked now, because then we can all laugh at you. Yeah, well, what have you done in your life? Nothing, probably. Just sitting there behind a keyboard. That's not really doing something with your life.
Yeah.
She's completed more than a lot of people in the world could ever do.
Listen,
And I want
Bill sums it up nicely. 18, I can only imagine what I was doing on the weekend.
yeah, exactly. Probably involved a hell of a lot of alcohol and probably not many good decisions. So the Indian Wells thing, though, I think I was bringing it up. I know it's not a direct example because you can't really compare the men's and the women's game exactly, and you can't really compare Medvedev to Raducanu. But I'm about to do a mini comparison.
Oh, here we go.
Medvedev just won his first Grand Slam, yes?
Yeah.
Raducanu just won, and that was coming, though. He'd made some finals already. But the fact he won his first Grand Slam, the next tournament, whatever he does now, he'll be going down from that performance. If he doesn't win Indian Wells, it will be seen as a little bit of a failure compared to winning the US Open, because you're expected to keep on that trajectory. You're like, oh, how come you won the US Open, but you can't win Indian Wells? I mean, that type of thing. Because Raducanu, if she didn't win Indian Wells, people would say, well, why? You just won the US Open. What? You're not good? It's just a little bit.
I think you're hitting the nail on the head perfectly. I love what you're saying there. It resonates with me perfectly. And this is a complete different debate, but this is what makes the big three so special.
Yep.
And Serena as well, because they've won at the top and they keep winning at the top.
Yeah.
And the pressure, I know Djokovic has had some great quotes about it. Pressure's a privilege. I agree with him 100%. It's a privilege, but it also comes with a lot of pressure and it's tough to take. And to keep winning at the top, this is why we've got to put more respect than ever. I think everyone does on what the big guys do. To win 20 Grand Slams is insane. I honestly put it up there as one of the greatest sporting achievements across all the sports.
It's huge.
I think it is it's got to be. I'm biased. We do a tennis podcast. For me, it is the biggest, but I can understand other people with other sort of players in different sports where they want to make a case for. But this is what just makes tennis so special for me. But yeah, I thought I'd just get that one in there.
I think you're right, because there are people, when they get to this level, I don't want to say it, but I don't think we're ever going to see an era like that ever again. And with three players getting that many Grand Slams in the same era, it's unheard of.
Because you've got pressure on you every time, because people expect you to win. Djokovic goes into the next event, he's expected to win. Rafa goes into every Roland Garros. He's expected to win every set. He's not expected to drop a set.
No, exactly.
He's not expected to drop a set. Roger at Wimbledon, he's expected to win the whole thing. He's not expected to get to the final and lose. He's expected to win. He starts on the centre court on the first day. He's expected to win. And Serena Williams expected to win every match.
And the right thing here, the right caption is, a victim of your own success.
Yeah.
And that is what Medvedev, he will start to feel the pressure. If he wins Australia in January or February, whenever it is, the pressure goes up a notch, one more. There you go. You've got another one. Look, you can win all the hard court Grand Slams now. There's no reason you shouldn't ever win them again.
I love it. I love it because of it.
I think we have to take that into account in this, because should she have won the US Open coming in to the US Open? No, of course she shouldn't have won it based upon where she was ranked in the world. She won it, but I think we have to look at the whole big picture. She was ranked like 300 or something in the world before Wimbledon, and we thought Wimbledon was a massive shock. I think the signs were there. And another thing, is she more of a Grand Slam player? We don't know that at the moment. She might play better in the big crowds.
Good cue. DNZK, her tour level, win-loss, 10-4. And all 10 wins are in slams. So right now, she's a slam specialist. She doesn't lose in slams, and she loses everything else, it seems. So not a bad way to be remembered. If she can keep that up for her whole career, she'll be over the moon with it for sure. But right now, I just want to talk about some other bits about Raducanu.
Yeah.
I don't want to throw you under the bus too much, but I feel like I have to, because it's not really aimed at you. It's aimed at everyone here. And I've not just seen it from you. I've seen it from a lot of people. Everyone definitely got far too carried away with it. The bookies, I said what I had to say about it. there's no way she should have been favourites. They had her at 7.5s, and they had everyone else at like 13s, like the chasing pack, like Muguruza, Iga Swiatek, them guys. It's just not normal. She should have been 20s and above. And there's no reason that she should not be in the same category as Leylah Fernandez. I think in your fairness, you did say that as well. They should be in the same bracket because they did more or less the same thing at the US Open. Yeah. Raducanu was just able to win that extra match. And Fernandez, if you look at her route and stuff, we'll get onto that in a minute, so I'll talk about that. But why did you, after seeing all of this, have her going so far in the event?
It was just the hype, wasn't it? I mean, I just wanted...
Why are you getting wrapped up in it? Because you know all these things that we're saying. Why did you get so wrapped up in the hype of Raducanu? Where you had her winning the quarter?
I wanted her to win it. It wasn't the fact that I thought. There was a eerie feeling I had at the back of me. It was like a gut feeling that I did want it. I was ignoring the whole time. And I know every time you said, oh, she's going to go out in the first round, and that made me push her through another round. And every time you'd say it, I was like, I'm going to put her through again. I'm going to like, oh no, what am I doing? And before I knew it, she was in the semi-finals against Iga Swiatek. So it's just one of those draw previews come out. I have a beer and I get a bit too wrapped up in the whole occasion. And I'm guilty. I hold my hands up. I got wrapped up in.
There's no hardship in that at all. I just thought I'd create a bit of controversy and see what you have to say.
But it's the same thing with the Fernandez thing. I know that obviously you've got a win in the tournament.
It's not the same.
No, it's not exactly.
This is where I'm going to get into this. I'm glad you brought up Leylah Fernandez. I'm saving it for the end of the podcast. I'll let you say what you've got to say first. Go on.
No, all I was going to say is it's not exactly the same because she's been on the tour. She's sort of done her time, let's say, a little bit more. She's been round. She's played tour level events, and she sort of worked her way up to a few finals. I think she had maybe one or two. Can't think of the top. I know she played Acapulco, but she's still been on the tour and she's done a whole year's tour and she's sort of played all the players already. And she's actually had to experience what it's like to have the defeats and all of that type of thing. And now she's starting to come into her own. I'm hoping, like I said in the draw preview, Leylah Fernandez is now the real deal. That's what I want to see. I want to see her as that for the rest of her career. And I hope it's not going to be a flash in the pan type thing. And I'm hoping Raducanu's the same. I hope it's not a flash in the pan. Hopefully she comes back stronger. Fernandez, I think she has more potential. And I think you're probably right to say that she has more potential in this tournament based upon her career so far.
I'm going to go further than that. I think in a career, I'll go to extreme heights for Leylah Fernandez. As you know, during the US Open, round by round, what I saw against Grand Slam champions, Angelique Kerber, Osaka, Svitolina, there was quality players she was beating in 3 sets. She faced adversity in matches. Tennis is a mental it's a mental game. And if you can come through times of adversity, it shows something different than, say, big winners. I was a lot more impressed by Leylah Fernandez at the US Open than Emma Raducanu. I know Emma Raducanu was bageling and breadsticking players and winning in quick times. For me, winning over a 3-set match is a lot more telling of a player's potential and how well they can play the game of tennis. And this is why I love clay court tennis so much, because you see them grueling rallies. Yeah. And this is what I like to see. With Leylah Fernandez, though, I agree here. Kay took the words out of my mouth. She has a higher ceiling. I really believe that. I think she, in terms of tennis, in terms of superstar package, Raducanu has got it. I think Fernandez is not far off, to be fair. She's a bit of a superstar in the making as well. Close. But I think her tennis impresses me a lot more. And that's why it's not so crazy to suggest she can win an Indian Wells, because what she's shown already, for me, has been more impressive than Raducanu, even though she lost that final in straight sets.
I think you're definitely hitting the nail on the head, mate, because the one thing that she has shown, which we haven't seen from Raducanu yet, is she can fight through adversity. And the adversity of going to 3 sets and grueling and going to the trenches and really finding something at those moments of weakness when you think, oh, she's out of this match. She's playing a Grand Slam champ. She dug in and she managed to win. We didn't even get to see what it's like for Raducanu when she's in the trenches. We've never seen it. So it's hard to, we can't, there was no comparison. I want to see what it's like when we do start seeing that from Raducanu. Then we'll find out if she is the real deal. because we've already seen it from Leylah Fernandez. So I can understand the hype. I can understand why everybody has warmed to her so much.
But also, with the same breath, we should acknowledge the fact that if Leylah Fernandez is to go out the same in the next round, that's okay as well.
Yeah,
she's in the same
is.
thing with Raducanu, where
It
it's
really
not it's all over now. Leylah Fernandez, she just was riding a bit of hype. She was brilliant for one tournament. She's a fraud. She's going to go back to losing. She's going to be going back to playing terrible. That's not the case either. So everyone needs to stay calm with that. I just think Leylah Fernandez has a really good shot of winning this whole event because she's impressed me so much recently, and she's playing well. She demolished Cornet in the last match. I obviously didn't get to see it. It was at 4 a.m. But from some of the tweets I've seen, I saw some of the shots as well. Fernandez looked amazing. So I'm very, very, very happy about that. And I'm going to be cheering her on every single round, every step of her journey, because she inspires me a lot in what I do every day, because she's someone who is awesome. I love her character.
Yeah,
and I think she's got a really good future in the game. And like you touched on, she's played a few more matches than Raducanu. She's been going through a bit of hardship. She's played and lost to a lot of players who she shouldn't lose to, which I think makes her a little bit more advanced than where Raducanu is right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Experience is the one of the most key things going into big events. And that was why it was shocking that Raducanu was more in that final in the US Open than it was Leylah Fernandez. Leylah Fernandez, obviously, it's a shock, but she's been around on the tour for a long time. I don't know. I don't want to just continue going on about it, but Leylah Fernandez, maybe that doubles match that she played, she came in, she probably wasn't used to the court conditions yet. She played doubles with Coco Gauff.
Yep.
Won that convincingly, looked great in the doubles, but barely on court any time. Maybe that was a good way of getting used to the courts, though. A nice friendly match with Coco.
I feel like since the US Open final, Leylah Fernandez has been a little bit more focused on the tennis. I'm sure she's probably been doing a bit more training, not been going from pillar to post like Raducanu has been. You got the cool one saying it seems like JG's more of a Fernandez fan than Raducanu. Well, look back at the US Open final.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, the proof was in the pudding. I was supporting Fernandez during that final with Raducanu, and that's just the truth. It's like I like both players. I will always cheer Raducanu if there's not, say, someone who I prefer a little bit more, which is Leylah Fernandez. There's something about her which I warm a bit more to.
Would you say, and this is a very hypothetical question because it's not really one that can really be answered, if Leylah Fernandez had won the final and now she has to go to the Met, she has to go to James Bond, she is now getting all the... Yeah, she did go to the Met Gala. I just thought about that when I was saying, if she had all of these other things, all of these brands pulling at her left, right, center, and she wasn't able to train in the lead up to this tournament, do you reckon it would affect her in the same way or as Raducanu?
Well, I can throw another way, mate. Listen, if Raducanu lost that final, I still think Raducanu would have got more hype around her than Leylah Fernandez. She's British. There's something a bit different about what Raducanu is, and they was always going to warm to her. Even if she got to a semi-final, she would have been huge. In my opinion, she didn't have to win it.
Yeah, I think you're right, mate. I think you're definitely right.
The package.
Yeah, it is. And just imagine just going from and life's been turned upside down. I said it a lot of times on the match last night. And just imagine what your life was before the US Open.
You say turned upside down. Listen, there's a lot of people's life has been turned upside down and usually in a bad way. But I think it's been turned. What's the other? How would you use the more positive? Turned the right way up.
Well, if you think about it, if you're that 18 years old, she's probably sitting in her bedroom at home. Mum and dad are there going, Emma, dinner's ready, or something like that. And she's like, all right, coming down like that. Like, oh, I'm just going to go and play US Open. Oh, we can't come watch you. There's a pandemic thing. Oh, okay, don't worry. Won the US Open. Oh, I just won 2.5 million, by the way. And now off to the races. But you got $100 million deals going.
Nike have just sold every single
it's literally
outfit they've ever owned, which I had.
It's actually ridiculous.
She's going to sign a mega deal with Nike soon, for sure. She's already signed bits with Chanel and other brands. Fair play to her. And let's just talk about this tweet here, because I know we've been up a while. Some of the players Sasnovich has lost to in 2021. You got Gabriela Da Silva, you got Fick, you got Priscilla Hon, and you got Pana Udvardi. And some of the players Sasnovich has beat, Serena Williams, Emma Raducanu. So it seems like she turns up for the big stage, Sasnovich. I thought that was quite a funny one to bring up.
That
And it
is
just
quite
also,
funny.
so I know Sasnovich did say in their post-match interview, everyone can beat everyone on the women's tour.
Yeah, I totally agree with her. That's why you can
She
never
said it
look
herself.
past. You can't look past anybody. If you watched how well she played last night as well, she played great tennis, aggressive tennis, and she never gave up on any point. And that was what won her very vital points in that match. Raducanu thought she'd won certain points on top of the net, and she just stuck a racket out and managed to pull off amazing lob over the top. And Raducanu, the amount of times I saw her go, watch the ball just go over her head and just land clearly in. I felt bad for her, but Sasnovich played great, and you've got to give her some credit because I think she could actually, if she plays a similar style of tennis and doesn't get overawed by the occasion against Halep, she could give her a good match as well.
Yeah.
I think that Halep was proved she's not invincible yesterday against Kostyuk, so anything's possible.
Well, she
Who
kind of
knows?
did in the end because she come through
Yeah,
and looked
I mean,
pretty good in the big moments. But Kostyuk played awesome in that one.
she did.
We're not going to get Halep Raducanu. This is the match we really did want. Let's be honest. But we still get a really exciting one in Sasnovich Halep. Look forward to that.
Yep.
We've got a few more events coming up after this. We'll wrap this one up soon. But just the last thing I want to talk about is some of the future events of Raducanu. I remember we had a tweet up before. I don't know if you've still got that from some of the matches she's got lined up in some of the tournaments. If not, can you remember them?
I know she's playing in Linz in Poland.
Yeah, that's right. She's playing also in Romania, another one.
Yeah.
Saw her speaking. I forget the whole schedule now, but she's got a few events coming up.
Yeah.
What do you expect from her in these upcoming events? After this loss here, she's won the US Open. She's then lost straight away in Indian Wells. What do you expect for Raducanu in some of the upcoming events? I know you said Linz. There's one in Romania. There's one in Moscow as well, I think.
I think so. I think you're right. I quite like the fact that she's coming back to Europe, though. I think that she's spent a lot of time over there in the US. I think it's going to be good to be back home, come back to London, and just sort of regroup. I think she needs it. Obviously being over there, it's just all too much. There's a lot of media. There's a lot of hype.
We touched them all. Linz, Moscow, Romania.
Perfect. Romania one, I think there's probably going to be a lot of pressure because she's obviously family from Romania. That one's going to be a lot of hype around that when she turns up there. So I'm quite looking forward to the Linz one because as we know, that was the one Coco Gauff. That was her first title in Linz.
That's right.
And there could be comparisons drawn here. If she was to go to Linz and get a good result, maybe get to like a semi or something, I think that'd be a really good result for her. I'm quite looking forward to the Linz one, I have to say.
Yeah, I'll have to stick with what I said at the start. I don't see her winning any of them, but I would like to suggest that she gets far in one. Whether it's a semi or a final, that would be awesome. I really will be cheering her on and hope she can do it. But I think for me, this year now, 2021, is a write-off for Raducanu in tennis-wise. I think she's done the US Open. I don't think we're going to see any more titles from her or really many great performances. I think she's already done more than she has to do this year. And I think it's going to be difficult for her to sort of get up for any of these and emulate that with everything else what's happening. She's become a superstar. She's having to adjust to the lifestyle and play tennis. You've got to remember these people are humans as well. And I think it's all going to be a little bit too much for her this year. So I don't see her winning anything. But I would love to be proven wrong. How amazing if she was to go to, say, Linz and win it, or Moscow or Romania. That would be great for her, for sure.
You've got to remember, but in the tournament before we went into the US Open, that was probably more of an idea of where her game was at, I think, before going in. The Chicago Challenger that she played. And she got to the final there. And it was a very good final against Clara Towson. And Towson actually got one over on her in that final set. And that was the only time we've really seen her in that third set struggle. Really, it was a back and forth. She was up a break. Then she ended up losing it.
And didn't handle it too well. I know she was serving for the set, I think. And there was a few breakpoint opportunities where she was struggling with her ball toss, her serve, some nerves. We saw it with Tomjanovic as well at Wimbledon. Struggled with a bit of anxiety and things as well. So she is prone to struggle under pressure. We've seen that. There was no signs of it at the US Open. So she's shown both sides of the coin here. And I'm just hoping we see more of US Open Raducanu in the future.
Definitely. Well, I think we've done this into the ground. Just want to say, if Emma does hear it, we are wishing you all the best. We still think you're amazing, and we're wishing all the best for your next tournament. Get back to Europe, come back to London, regroup, and have a great time in the European tournaments.
Brilliantly said. Thanks for watching, guys. See you very soon for another podcast.
See you on the next one, guys.